Welcome to CharTroom. My name is Jay Song. Everything in today's video is never financial investment or trading advice of any kind. Everything's just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I ate red crayons for breakfast. Trading in the markets carries substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware against high leverage trading. Past performance is never indicative of future performance. Let's begin today. Thank you for those who joined us for our daily reading, and we're having some fun fellowshipping beforehand. We're going to go through a few charts. Let's go to Bitcoin. So let's type in BTC. I have two main BTC charts to look at. One on Bitstamp. And this was our structure that we're looking for the other day. We were watching this uptrend in this area. And on Saturday, today is Wednesday, we were waiting for the candle to close on Saturday, and we were 20 minutes out from when we finished that recording. I said look for us to close above the line. We did. Came up one, and we came back down now to sit on the line, and we got our small bounce. Ideally, this would be where we'd want to be thinking bullish up to the next resistance area. So in the next resistance area I'm seeing is around 118 to 122 to the conservative side. That's going to be where I'm currently at with Bitcoin. I'm thinking we're going to be able to get up there. However, the first signs of weakness or slowdown started appearing just here. Okay, just here in this area. And this is based on this area, this line, and that's based on some of those cores. So let me show you what I mean and how we can navigate this. Okay, let's leave on the territories where we're currently at. Now, once we're here underneath this thing, we're going to calculate for the event line. Now, the event line is the last event to happen in this area. It should be slightly down like this. The last thing that happens before we break down can indicate where our future bounce is. So this would be our event angle, and all we have to do to find our event line is bring it to the lower energy center that is in between those areas. So if I have an angle that's something like this, I want to bring it here, in other words. So if I take this angle and I bring this down, now I have my event line. This is ideally where we're supposed to bounce or move. Now this can be placed in two places, either the lowest wick in the area or the lowest core. If I bring it to the lowest wick in the area, it's going to be about right there. Oop. Let me move this off to the side so you can see it a little better. Yep. Oop. It needs to come down right there. So there's the wick area, and the core would be like the meaty part, which is a little bit higher. Okay. So I'm just going to bring it here for the wick for right now, but you could bring it up to the core, and we get a candle that's starting to appear underneath that core. So you can see this one is above, this one is above, okay, and this is about right here. So if we're going to bounce, it needed to be basically now or today. So if you see the price of Bitcoin come up, that would be one thing, and then on the wick side it would be here. Now if you want to differentiate them, you can make one dotted and you can make one like the core. But since this is a separate angle than the existing white dots, I'm going to give this a color set. So let's make this, just say pink. Then I'll make this pink, and then we'll make this pink. So we know that they're all the same angle. So I'm left with something that looks like this. Now if I'm going to write on here, I'm going to write, and I can add some labels if I wanted to. I can type it as event angle. Okay, that's how we get the angle based on there, okay, and then this is where we place it at the core side and at the wick side, okay, and then we can label this event line core, and then here event line wick. Okay, so all this means is we're looking for health when price touches this area or here. Either way, in these two areas, we'd be looking for a bounce. Now, since it's Wednesday, I'm going to ask questions in the chat. What would it mean if price falls below here or starts building below here? The color's giving it away. The first sign what it mean is that there's weakness. Now there is support in these areas, but primarily or predominantly if we're building in these areas, we're either going to play for just a few days or we're going to come down, because this is where the health should be. So if I'm not getting that health in these areas, then that tells me most of what I need to know. Okay, so this is how we can view something like this. So anytime we start building below, or the first signs of weakness start appearing, based on our larger energy centers, we're going to be thinking to ourselves, event angle. And we need to place it where it goes, and then that gives us where our next balance is and where our next weakness is. So weakness is here, and health is still in play. Okay, so this is health. We're not so bearish yet, but it will appear here if it's going to appear. And that could also happen later in the future. And then we'll calculate what the next event line is. But it looks something like that. Okay, if you need a screenshot reminder, and I'll give you a few more examples today when we do. I will use that as our primary predominant teaching as we look into some cryptos. So as it is, if we're going to place the marker, we'll put our health here, our weakness there, and we'll put our health here. So if you're saying, Jason, what's going to happen today? I can't tell you. We got to watch. But if we got to watch this area, but that will tell us what's about to happen. Okay. What price does next, tell us. If we start bouncing here, I'm going to be looking to come up. If we phase through to this side, I'm going to be looking to come down or to play around at the very least bounce. Okay, that's Bitcoin. The prices right here are 108,000, 187 to 106,051. And these are all the same numbers I gave you guys on Saturday, so it's nothing new. Nothing new at all. Okay? All right. Got it? All right. Any other questions regarding Bitcoin? I'll show another chart on Bitcoin. Any other questions? Okay. Going once. Going twice. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to the other Bitcoin chart, BTC. We're going to look on the index. Okay. This is another chart where I have my 106 plus the upper wick area, 109. Okay. Showing our weakness appearing here, and then we just calculated for the event angle on the other one. This is where I'm going to keep the next weakness underneath 106 based on the flat. Although for the purpose of a flat, we could be jutting out. I'm not going to put too much weight on just being underneath 106 anymore, because that's where we should have rejected. But since we're already on top, I'm not really going to hold too much to here just yet. In other words, normally I would like to fade away 106. The only reason I'm not fading it away is because I'm still looking for it to be something that price steps on top of and builds, such as it's possibly doing right now. In other words, Bitcoin still has a chance. Okay, we'll keep these two lines on, but the fade, the weakness, the main weakness, I'm going to just either shrink that or just fade that one away. I'm not so interested in that weakness, at least right there. I'm looking at the health, though. That's for sure. Okay. All right, take a screenshot. Okay. All right. Okay, the next crypto we're going to be picking up is Moog. Okay, on USD MEX. Okay, Moog, we were measuring the oscillation back here. It looks like we had a weakness here. This is going to be a little important because this is where the sword cut is going to come in here. This is not a good spot for Moog, in my opinion, if this is carrying strong. Let me try to, the key angle is here on top. It's approximately there. We never got the next health. If I take the distance between here and here, it should be exactly the same distance on the bottom for this bounce here. Should be the same, which means that this would be the DP projection. And oh, it's not. Okay, that's good. Alright, let's double check our angles then. Let's clear up this chart. I want to clean up this area a bit. Okay, I'm going to take this as a reverberation possibly, since the DP is not responding correctly. Oh, you know what? It may be responding correctly. Let me check the wick side. And then I'm going to measure again. And then I may get the response I'm looking for. Okay, what I'm doing is found in our lessons page called DP projection. There it is. Yep, it's correct. Okay. Yeah, same angle. I just needed it. I was just only doing core side. I wasn't thinking wick side. Okay, so I'm going to end up being bearish this area. Let me just change this label to DP. I'm going to be bearish here, and this is where our bounce should have got. So I'm going to draw let's draw our foundational area here. This might explain why we're bouncing in this area. That the support that's along these areas should be a little bit bullish. I need to take these pictures. Okay, so this is the DP on the bottom, and this is approximately where we should be getting some kind of support. I'm going to draw a smaller sword cut based on here, and it's going to be our watch line. I'm going to call it watch line. We already passed that, so we don't need to call it watch line. Just leave it as an angle. Okay. Alright, the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to do target system. I want to see if the bulk of the target is on top. I'm going to be looking to come down. If the bulk of the target's on bottom, I'm going to be looking to come up. And the target's on top, so we want to be looking more bearish. Okay, the next big target is on the bottom side. So for Moog, we're probably going to find our support. Instead of at the sword cut, we're going to probably find it at the angle. Let's make this a different color. And let's try ice cream. And then I'm just going to stretch it out a bit. Alright, so I'm probably going to be looking at something that looks like supports here. And the resistance is actually the one that's right now on top. So I'm not going to trust this crypto too much. Any other questions, comments, my thoughts regarding this crypto? I'll be looking on the conservative side. 000072 is where our bounce should be, which is going to be the conservative side up there. And I'll put this target here so you guys can quickly recreate my work. 00013 to 15. Alright, any other questions? Moog, going once, going twice. My thoughts on Moog. Okay. Alright. Now I just said we missed. I hit the pause button when I went to get some water. So I'm going to show quickly my dominance chart again, so you guys can have this for Bitcoin. I don't know if I had when I went to get some water, I paused the video. I do apologize, the recording. But basically for the dominance chart, the BTC.D, I drew our angle, I drew our sword cut, somewhere here, about right there where our cut is. And then I also drew a reminder of where the bulk of the resistance is in the future. It's around 75, 74, 79, 78, around those prices. So we can see we're at 64. So I'm still looking to come up here. I had a big concern about the angle, so we drew the event line, and we found that the event line is still being supported on the weekly chart. So we want to pay attention also to the foundational line, and then I'll show you what all this means. So that foundational line is how we get that bulky area here. And then when we did the event angle on the daily chart, we saw that This caused for some concern, possible sign of weakness, but when we confirmed it on the higher time frame, we can see that the higher time frame still has it as support. So I'm not going to be so concerned. That means that if the sword cut fails, we're going to be looking to come back up. And if the weakness appears, it's going to be approximately underneath that line. So about right there is where we're looking to get underneath that line. Okay, and that's what we're looking at. Okay. Now, so that's those charts, those are those images, and so it's just to include them in the recording. Then the next crypto we did, we looked at USDT.D, no new news, we're still in delay territory. And nothing new there. And then this started where we recorded. Okay. Now the last cryptos we're going to look at are, the next one's a stock. So we're going to look at the stock. Okay, of this stock, it's a stock I've done before. We had a target at the bottom here at 280. It looks like we went past our first, second, and then we hit our third target here. Okay, so nothing so new regarding this one. It fell quite a bit. Let me take a look at the last time we've done it. We were very high from our target on May 7th. Today, we seem to be building that support right at 280. If we're going to buy it, it needs to be at a low price like this. Although I don't have another support for this at the moment. I don't want to speculate more because we're very disconnected from the upper chart. Once we're down here, we got the target, we got the support, but that's about it. The foundational area is quite way over there, or way past the event angle. Even if it was straight, it would be here. Even a DP is going to be only about right here. So as for me, if you're going to buy it, you'd be buying it based on the target and possibly a support here in this area. That's about all I have to say about this one. Does anybody have any other questions regarding this one?
Jason?
Yes, Jeff.
Can you take a look at the volume? I'm not sure whether the volume is buy or sell.
It's probably mine volume. We got candles that are closing up above the target. And if there's going to be heavy volume that's dumping, it's going to be probably up at the tops rather than at the bottoms. So you're probably looking at, since the close is near the middle and we're moving to the right, it's probably going to be some kind of buying volume. I just don't have any structure that you can really use. If you're going to get it anyway, this is probably a very low price.
Jason?
Yes.
Do you see the stock go down to the 280?
Do I see the what, Jeff?
You see the stock go down to 280 again?
218. You know what? There may be an event angle, Jeff. An old one. Back from the 2006. That we might be able to use. I'll give you the wick side and the core on the monthly chart. If it's next month, we might be looking at 165 to 133 or 135. Maybe that'd be a very big, severe drop. I don't really see that, but it is a support. I hope that helps. Okay? All right. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
All right. The last crypto we're going to be looking at is DOGE. And, all right, let me pull it up. All right, praise God for that. So, DOGE, D-O-J-E. Okay. We're going to look at on the weekly chart first. But DOGE is in a nicer spot based on some of this angle here. And this is going to be possibly a bounce up to this area. We do see some evidence that the angle is here based on some of the reverberation. Although it's not so clear, it looks to me possibly that it can fit the category of more of a flat than anything else based on this bottom. And if I go to maybe a monthly chart, this will look like a flat. So I think that's what we found last time. And yeah, it looks like it is. So we might be actually looking at some higher numbers on Doge in the future. Let me move these off to this side. Closer to $6 and 79 cents, 6.52. I think that was what we're possibly seeing. To come back down to our angle, what I currently have for us right now is somewhere around here. So in either case, our watch line based on the foundational area here on the wick side is going to be somewhere, it was at 30 cents. This is dynamic positive, so it's going to come down to about right there. For next week, the number is going to be 28 cents. Okay. And so this isn't a good spot. We also can see that there was a smaller health parabolic that we were drawing on a smaller time frame. So I'll pull that one back into view. That may have been based on this back here. So if we do come down for Doge, probably around 18 cents is probably going to be our next good prices, or above the 28 cents will be our next prices. All right. Does anybody have any other questions about Doge? My take on Doge. I will not do any more cryptos today. Doge going once, going twice. Okay. All right. God bless you all, and I want you guys to have a great day. I'll be back on Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Take care.